Dan, this has been a great month for Firewood, for YouTube, for the podcast. There's just this big, happy feeling about Firewood and everyone around it.
Yeah, it's I don't know what I mean. There's been so much going on, and it's like early in the year yet. There's the whole summer and fall ahead of us. My goodness.
There was the recent Hoosier Hysteria, a big firewood charity drive in Indiana, and that was really cool. That's like there's like a, what would you call that? Like a firewood bank, or it was a campground. Was it ran by veterans?
Yes, and all of the wood that was processed during that event was donated. The time, the effort was donated, so that now they can sell that firewood at their campground throughout the year and collect all the profits from it and help out the campground and veterans, I believe.
That was really nice. That was. And it was run by, or organized by, a YouTube channel, KNL Firewood. Maybe we could put a link to his channel in our podcast notes.
Yep, Mike at KNL.
Yeah, that was really nice. I met him very shortly last year. He's just a nice gentleman. I like him. And what he did out there was nice. And when you look at people that, some of the people that were there were also at my place the weekend before. and it is just this common thing that brings everyone together, and it's just making firewood. What is it about firewood, Dan?
I have no idea. I do not know. I can't put a finger on it. I can't describe it. It's just something that if you know, you know.
Yeah, there is just something fun about it. And I don't know, there's just a lot of nice people, and everyone's different, and everyone comes from a different background, it seems, and they have different interests, but the one common interest is firewood. And then when everyone gets together, it's just nice.
Yeah, I think one big factor is, typically when you process firewood, you're probably doing it either alone or with only maybe one or two other people. So when you have an organized get together and you have all these like-minded individuals come together with a common goal at the end of the day to make a bunch of firewood, I think it even heightens the enjoyment, and it's something special.
I agree. I see people that are just enjoying themselves. It's like time doesn't matter. Time stands still. I can speak from experience here at my place for my open house a couple weekends ago. These guys, man, they worked, guys and gals. They worked, man. The one guy was just drenched in sweat, and all of them just put their time in. And I never expected anything, and they never asked for anything. It was just something they wanted to do.
Yeah. And those people that were at the Hoosier Firewood Hysteria, they made a lot of wood. Oh my goodness. They filled like this entire shed. It was crazy.
I agree. It looked to be a mountain. They had like that barn kind of thing with the bays, and they just had it all. Well, that was a lot.
Yep.
Looked to be a year's worth of campground firewood. I can also say too, Dan, at my place, everyone I met was nice. I didn't meet anyone that is just kind of awkward or weird or unfriendly, I guess is the right word. There was no conflict. If you ran into someone, no one cared. There was just no hidden agenda, it was just nice. And then, I don't know, have you ever, come to think of it, I don't even know if I've ever met anyone in firewood that I didn't like. Well, maybe I have.
Yeah, I mean, I think people who are in that mindset, who are kind of antisocial, not really wanting to get together, I think they stay away, so you maybe don't have a chance to meet them at events like this. But I have met a handful, a few people that I don't know, just for whatever reason, they kind of rub me the wrong way, or I rub them the wrong way. Uh, and it's just one of those things that you just have to get past and move on.
Y- You mean a firewooder?
Yes, yeah.
A fire. I see, like, there could be a TV show or a book, about the lonely woodcutter. You think of like Paul Bunyan with him. All he had was that big
Ox.
blue ox. Yeah, and I don't know. Paul Bunyan probably didn't have any enemies. If he did, he would have probably just stepped on them. But I don't. I just, I was just making that comment that I don't think I've ever met anyone in firewood that I didn't like, but then I thought, oh, wait a second, that's not true. Because there are a couple, nothing major, but I got enough insight into some of these guys that, I just move on.
Right. Yeah, I guess there's, we talked the one time about the wood snobs being like on the customer side of things, but I think there might be some wood snobs in the producer side of it as well. Like people making firewood out there. I don't know. I think maybe it's
Yeah.
just spending too much time alone in the woods has made them kind of, a hardened soul that doesn't like interacting with us other woodhounds.
The term snob, I think, is very interesting when you think about firewood, because I don't see firewood as a snobby industry. And when I think of snobs, I think you and me had this discussion before. I think some of the biggest snobs that I've ever met were on a golf course, a a ski slope, and an airports. I don't, and I
Was
don't
that
know what.
all in the same trip?
Yeah, don't use a white ball when you golf in the wintertime, I guess. No. No, I don't golf, but I have golfed in the past, and I got into golf enough to where, you learn, like, some of the people that take golf serious.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, man, they stand in judgment of you when you're out on the course. They're not they're just waiting for you to get done. They're just they're standing, they're watching you, and everything that you do is annoying them. They can tell by the shoes that you're wearing that you are offending you are offending their course.
Yes, and I think that was kind of the situation with the individual I had a little encounter with. Is he kind of looked at me as I wanted to discuss with him like how he did his business, his firewood and everything, and kind of do a video on it for YouTube. But he felt that that was like exposing his secrets, and he didn't want the world to know about how he made firewood, and that I was like someone trying to, or like get in there and find out, what the secret is about firewood. So he just kind of looked at me as, a YouTuber that was trying to make a name for himself with firewood and not knowing anything about firewood. So he felt like, what are you doing? Yeah.
You were going to uncover his secret of how he would cut the logs at 16 inches and then split them in half.
Yes, and then let them dry for 6 months and sell them. I mean,
Yeah.
This is
He
top
had this
secret
very
information.
he had this very secret technique called stacking that
Exactly.
separated himself from all the other people out there in the world. And one day I will rule the world.
Yes, and I just was kind of taken. I was like, what? I don't see how if someone in Pennsylvania watches this video and finds out where you're located, how it's going to have any effect on your business. I just didn't see that. I felt like it would
Uh-huh.
be more of an exposure opportunity to get people to be aware of him, but I guess
Yeah.
not.
That's funny too. Now that you mention that, I wasn't even thinking of this guy, but there was this one time we were we were on vacation. It was when my daughters were in travel softball. We were out of state and at a tournament at a hotel, and you Google, you look around, and there was a firewood business close by. So I thought I would just go look, and it was open to the public. Yeah, and he sold equipment too. And gosh, this guy's just so unpleasant. Everything he I think we talked about this in a past episode. I mean, he had strong opinions, and that was it. And anything else that was different was wrong, you know? And I was like, gosh, when you show up at someone's wood yard, you know, normally the people are like, oh yeah, you know, you can talk about wood and species and this and that and stuff. And this guy, he was just, he was the opposite, man. I thought he should have probably just got back from golfing on his way to his ski trip or something.
Yeah, and that's typically what we were talking about at the beginning here. Typically, you think of, people that are into firewood. It's like a brotherhood where you're all are on the same topics and themes and thinking, and you have so much in common. You want to start talking about the way you do things and they do things, but some people, man, those are like guarded secrets. They don't want to tell you anything about their
No.
business, and they don't want you telling anyone else about their business.
Yeah, good heavens.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was another guy. Now that I wouldn't call him a snob, but it was I was thinking, you know, I don't even know if I've ever met anyone in the firewood industry that I didn't like, but this was the first thing that popped into my head. This guy was selling firewood. He was on Facebook, and the pictures of his firewood looked great. They were all stacked in 8-foot face cords, thirds of cords, and they were stacked 4 foot tall, really neat with T-posts. You know, it was just exactly everything in thirds. So I drove out there, and sure enough, the pictures were legit. It was exactly how he had all of his wood set up, and he had his price. And I was like, you know what? I'll take a cord. So he mentioned that it was going to be for 2 of these stacks. And I says, no, I said, a cord is 3. And he says, oh, no, it is not, you know, and so he was going to sell me 16 feet of firewood, and he was calling it a cord. And I was telling him that it's 3, you know,
Yeah.
and I mean, he went sour on me, man. And I just politely excused myself, and I was like, you know, well, I said, I'll just go somewhere else, you know. But yeah, but I was like, gosh, this guy was just, I mean, he was a jerk. And, you know, he was ripping people off. Now, maybe he didn't know. He honestly thought that two 8-foot stacks, 4 foot tall is a cord, which it isn't. But he wasn't the only person I ever met doing that, but he was the first one that I met that was, you know, a jerk.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've never had any experience like that. Because I don't usually go out and buy wood, and when I sell it, I don't have my measured amounts. But it'd be interesting to know though what would happen if you would have showed him, like, pulled out your phone and Googled a cord of firewood measurements.
I think at that point it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to buy it anyways. And it was like remember my story, the lady with the car, I wanted to buy her car
Yep.
and she wouldn't give me her address. And I was thinking, you know what, even if I went down this road and negotiated with her to get the address so I can come see the car, I'm not going to buy it anyways. So move on.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that firewood is a snobby industry or a snobby trade. I don't know. I think, you know, firewood is like the industry of the people, where everyone, you know, there's no high hurdle. Anyone with the desire can be a part of it, and it's big enough to where you can find your own little thing that you want to do. I think when I think of also snobs, I think the one profession that I have not had good luck with are electricians. I find them to be very protective of their profession, or maybe they're just very proud of what they're doing because, you know, it is, what the heck, it's dangerous work and stuff. But when I try to make small talk with people, people, plumbers are easy to talk to, drywallers, roofers, but man, electricians, they just they're tough. I I had I don't understand electricity sometimes. And there's this guy, I kind of know him, and I was just making small talk with him, and I says, "Here's something about electricity I don't understand. Tell me this," I said. I said, you are falling from the sky and you grab on to the top wire with both hands before you hit the ground, of your telephone poles,
Yep.
your
Yep.
wires out in the yard. I said, would I be electrocuted? Okay. I think it's a perfectly acceptable scenario. He would not answer my question.
Go find out for yourself.
Yeah, why won't he was like he would not allow that question to even stand because, how can you fall from the sky and grab onto the wire? And I said, that is not the point. I said, if I were to jump up and grab that top wire with both hands, would I be electrocuted? And he wouldn't answer the question. Wouldn't answer it.
Hmm. Wow.
I challenge you, go find an electrician
Int-
and ask them that question.
Interesting. Yeah. And what would be the reasoning why he wouldn't want to
Well,
answer?
I don't know. When I drive down the road, I'll see a bunch of birds all lined up on the top wire and they're not dead. If like one of them stuck their wing out and touched the other one, would they get electrocuted or if they would just stand on one foot?
I think the birds are on top of the wire, and if you were hanging, you'd be on the bottom. That's the difference.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, random questions. I remember one time I was at a Starbucks and I'm having a coffee and I was with my guy I work with and this lady was sitting over there and we were talking with her. She was a biology professor at college. So we started talking about dinosaurs and like alien lands and could there be uh, worlds out there that are just so astronomically large that we are just an atom in their world. And she was talking about like gravity and the viscosity of blood and the heart's ability to pump it, and limiting the size of organic life on Earth. It was just a fascinating discussion, and all it took was just we were just talking about something about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And then I try to ask the electrician, if I were to grab that top wire, if I was falling out of the sky, would I get electrocuted? I can't
Yes.
think of a possible scenario where I could ask a firewooder a question that they wouldn't cheerfully answer it.
Yeah. Although you haven't run into anyone in firewood telling you that you sell your wood for too much compared to what they sell it for, and all. Well, you probably aren't on Facebook that much because on there you see all these people that are so mad at people who sell it for more than them, and they're
Yeah.
ripping people off. And I don't know. I think there's a few out there, but they're limited.
I don't advertise. I'm on Facebook. My company's page is on Facebook, but I don't advertise on it for sale. And my Facebook page has evolved over time. Where before it was just showing, you know, gorgeous pictures of firewood. But now I've transitioned where I'm showing off the machines.
Yeah.
I just think that's more fun. I'll be honest. I don't have enough firewood for sale anyways, so there's no need for me to advertise.
Right.
And but like on Facebook, I know what you mean. I belong to these user groups and I do not participate in them. I find them depressing because I remember when I was starting off with my idea of my firewood business model, I would run it through people like on Facebook and everything was dumb. Everything's wrong.
Yep.
It ain't gonna work. And
Yep.
then and that's what I think about people in firewood. There is that salty, crusty element that's out there. But that doesn't necessarily offend me because I think people are at least being honest and telling you what's on their mind, you know.
Right.
But I don't think they're snobby about it. I don't
Well,
know.
let me ask you this then. You
Yes.
you say you haven't met many people that you don't like. Have you met anyone that doesn't like you? Be honest.
um not I don't think about in my firewood capacity. Softball, definitely. I don't know what it is about being a softball coach. It's probably like any type of coach, especially when your teams are good. And I had some prolific rec league teams, and then when you have a good rec league team, your phone starts ringing from the travel organizations. They want you to
Oh,
coach a team. And once I became a travel coach, that's when I started learning all these people out there just hated me. The president was laughing because this lady was calling them asking if they have any teams that their daughter can play on. And she found out the one team was coached by me, and she was like, I would never let my daughter play on that jerk's team, you know. And I don't know. It's just that's what it does to people.
it is
I've
funny.
always yeah, I don't think I'm a controversial person. I think I'm pretty likable, but not in the capacity of softball, there are people out there, man. That's why I told you when I go into a store, if I see someone down aisle 5, I go, oop, I gotta
Yep.
turn around and go this way. Now,
Yeah,
you seem to attract people that don't like you though.
I was gonna
I
just say I wish I could say the same, but I can't because I think there's plenty of people out there who don't like me.
Yeah,
You
your
know who you
comments,
are.
you you get a number of comments that I don't get with firewood, but you seem to draw some attention.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Sometimes it's just I rub people the wrong way, or I might say something or act a certain way that people don't like. People don't like that side of. I don't know. It's interesting because I kind of come from that background of having the attitude. Being in wrestling, I was the heel, I was the bad guy. So maybe I just carry that on through life. But and hey, I don't need to be liked by everyone. Not everyone has good taste.
Yeah. Had I known you were a wrestler back when I was a big wrestling fan, I would have liked you because I liked all of the bad guys. I don't know why, I just did. I thought they were hilarious. Although I
Oh,
didn't like Hulk Hogan when he became a bad guy. That didn't work for me. But
yeah.
like the Iron Sheik and the who was the guy that did Elvis?
The honky tonk
The
man. Oh,
honky
he was
tonk man. I
great.
love that guy. He was hilarious. He would just blast someone with his guitar. Yeah. You should have a firewood wrestling show.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that
Just don't wear the tights, please. Or
I
if you
was
did
just
wear a
gonna
mask over your face, that would make us all a lot happier.
I actually did at a few times. I did wear a mask as a part of the gimmick that I was doing because nobody could know who I was when I kept attacking these people in the ring. And then
Mhm.
we finally did the big reveal, and everyone's like, "I knew it was you, you a hole."
So what do you mean gimmick? Are you telling me that wrestling isn't real? Come on.
I know. And well, yeah, it's people are fake. Wrestling is real.
So what are the professional wrestlers like? Are they jerks? Or is it just the wide range of personalities, or are there a lot of snobbery in wrestling?
There are a few snobs, but they generally tend to get weeded out pretty early on in their careers. It's the same thing. It's like a brotherhood, You have people that you're all there, you have the same like-minded interests, and every now and then there's a bad apple that comes along, but
Mhm.
generally when people are like that, they end up eliminating themselves because nobody wants trouble, in a locker room on a show. People don't Promoters don't like it. Other wrestlers didn't like it. So
And it is probably, I would imagine, like you can dislike someone, but it can still be professional,
right,
and you can
yes,
you can behave professionally, and then when the match is over, then you're back to disliking each other.
yes. When it was time to work, you had to put all differences aside. You had to get the job done, put on the show, and yeah, if there were things you didn't agree with, then you left those in the locker room or left those outside the arena.
Uh-huh. Yeah, in the firewood industry, we'll say we'll leave that in the wood yard. That's a
Yes, leave it in the wood yard.
leave it in the wood yard. Leave it in the wood yard with all the work that I didn't get accomplished. Dan, I think this could be just another mindless babbling of two woodhounds here at Woodhound Studios.
It could be, but it's what was on our mind. We had, like you said, all those get-togethers. The year is off to a great start. Meeting people, meeting old faces again, seeing new people. I mean, it's everything is going
Yeah.
on. So
Yeah, I would have never thunk that firewood and YouTube would lead to this.
yeah,
And I just think it's awesome. I think it's just it's a nice fellowship. I really like it.
yep. And if you don't like it, don't be a snob. Keep your opinion to yourself.
Yeah. Well, there are no snobs. I think the people that I had brought out, I think that was different in a different setting than, where these get-togethers are taking place.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just nice. I really hope, and I would challenge everyone out there, if you have not attended one of these regional events, like there was one out at in Maryland last fall with Firewood at the Furnace. Had a nice turnout. I
Yeah,
think you
and
go to them, and if you don't have one in your area, well, then have one.
or some of these shows. Speaking of which, coming up in 2 weeks, you're going to be in Maine.
Yeah, I'm going to be at the Loggers Expo in Bangor, Maine. I'll be at the Fox Forestry booth on Friday and Saturday, the 19th and 20th.
There you
Come
go.
on
So
out.
come on out and enjoy the fellowship.
Yeah, come on out. And if you're able, let's hang out, man. I'll get to know you. And you never know. There might be other opportunities too. I know you're going somewhere, aren't you, here in the spring? Or is this in
Um,
the summer?
in the summer, in August, I think is my next event. But there's a few that might pop up here and there, just depending on my schedule. I have a bunch of weddings and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, for
Yeah.
goodness sakes. Yeah, weddings.
Talk about meeting snobs. Oh, there's a place to
At a
meet.
wedding. Last wedding, I think our kids were still young. We were at it. It was an hour long, and I started twisting my daughter's arm to get her to cry so that I could get up and leave with her.
Well, get this. Two of the weddings I have to go to, on the invitation, it's specifically stated, no kids. We politely request no children attend.
Well, that excludes you. You can't go.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe I don't have weddings to go to. I could use that.
Uh-huh.
Jeez.
I wonder why they don't want kids. I bet you it's because of the cost of the reception more than them disrupting anything.
Yeah. Or they're just
Uh-huh.
wedding snobs.
You can always tell who has kids too. If you're in a restaurant and a kid's acting up and stuff, the parents, you just ignore it and move on. But people that didn't, like the younger couples, you can tell they're all upset because this
Yep.
kid's disrupting them. There was a video I saw. It was a flight. It was a flight of the worst flights ever. And this kid started screaming, if you've had kids, you know what that's like. The kid was screaming and he couldn't stop, and it just ruined the whole flight. Well, there was this one guy who just flipped out. He couldn't take it anymore, and he became the screaming kid. Like when they landed, the cops, they had to divert the flight to get this guy off the plane. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah, that's probably why they don't want the kids.
I think I'm gonna have to get going here. I got to get
Yeah.
out and be snobby to somebody.
Okay.
All
All
this,
right. Well, I
all
got it.
this good talk about being nice and kind and all this. Being the heel that I am, I'm going to go do the opposite.
You are going to go out and glue worms to the sidewalks just to give birds hernias. You're
I don't
such a
know if
jerk,
I'll go that
Dan.
far.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to get outside and get to work too before it starts raining. Why not?
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening to Dan and I just babble on. But we want you to know that we thank you all for listening to the Woodhounds podcast and helping us be the #1 podcast of firewood in the world.
That is right. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you back here next week, Wednesday morning, on all your favorite podcasting platforms.
That's right. So, Dan, allow me to be the one this week to say, everyone stay
safe
and be
cool,
and please have
a great day.